Hello everyone, I'm teacher Vidya here, and today I will be teaching you something related with writing skills. We are going to emphasize more on the part of section B, which today I'm going to talk about email. Okay, so a lot of students get a little bit confused and have a lot of questions on how should they write an email, what should they what are the important things that they need to know about writing an email. So let's look at all the points on what you should know when you're writing an email. Okay, so the first one, as you can see here, the first one would be always understand the question and what it requires you to write about. That is the first thing you need to know. And the second one would be make sure you know the email needs to be addressed to whom. And normally it is stated in the question. Now this question is this second point, right, is actually very important, and a lot of students tend to ignore this point, where when they do not know the email needs to be addressed to whom. For example, now let me give you an example. If let's say they are stating there that this email needs to be written to a sister, and you actually wrote it to your brother, and you use the wrong personal pronouns. For example, you use the word he, and it's actually supposed to be stated to your sister, so your whole email goes wrong because you stated it to the wrong person. So that's why point number 2 is very important, and reading the question is very, very important in an email or to whatever essay questions that you are doing. Now the third one, you may use a set of connectors which enables you to connect your sentence properly. There are two sets of connectors, one a little bit more difficult. They are connectors like, for example, apart from that, besides that. Okay, and however, moreover, there are a few other connectors which you can use, and there are also easy connectors for you to remember. Now the easy ones are this one over here. Okay, so it's like firstly, secondly, thirdly, and lastly. Now a lot of students get a little bit confused with this point here. The word lastly is not referring to a conclusion. The word lastly is referring to a point. So if you're referring to a point, that is the last point, you can actually use this word lastly. Okay, now the next one would be, normally in an email they would require you to state 2 or 3 points, and you will need to elaborate the point. Now what is the meaning of elaboration and how should you elaborate? Normally for elaboration we do not need to elaborate very long, because an email consists of 30 to 50 words only. You do not need to elaborate it with examples, with such long winding words. You don't really need to do this. So later on in the question I will give you an example of what is the meaning of elaboration. Okay, so remember, only elaborate briefly. Briefly means shortly. Okay, and the next one will be always remember to end your email. Now a lot of students do not know how to end their email. Teacher, how should I end my email? I'm not sure. Is it my last point is already my ending? No, the answer is no. Okay, your last point is not your ending of your email. Okay, and remember, the ending of an email and ending of a letter is normally the same. Okay, so I'm referring to informal letter, okay, not a formal letter. So email and informal letter, the ending normally is the same. Okay, so let's look at a few examples of ending. Okay, so you can end your email with these kind of words: with this, I would like to sign off now. Take care, goodbye. Or you could also say, I hope I have given you enough details to the choice. Now why are you mentioning details here? It's basically because you are mentioning about the points and the elaboration, so which are referring to details. Okay, to the choice that you will be making, I would like to pen off now. Why did I use the word pen off? Pen off is basically because pen off is a phrasal verb, and if I'm going to use this is a form of vocabulary which will gain me marks. Okay, take care, goodbye. Or you could use I hope you will be able to make the best choice with all these details. I have to pen off now. I do hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Goodbye. Okay, so these are a few examples of how you can end your email. Okay, so let's look at the question. So this is a form of a question. Now section B consists of 12 marks, and as you can see, I'll just go through with you this question. This is the question that you will be doing later on. Okay, so this is about Science Society, and it's about Earth Day campaign. They have mentioned the date here, and on the 20th there's a talk on global warming and prevention, and these are a few details about the global warming and prevention. And then there's also an eco quiz, which is referring to a few activities here. You could also mention this: planting trees for the school. This is one of form of activities also. Or you could mention about the workshop. Now the workshop had mentioned here that make new things from old things, which means you need to give at least one example. Okay, so let's look at the question. Okay, so let's see what is the question stating here about. You are a pupil of SJKC Serdang and you participated in the Earth Day campaign. Write an email to your elder sister, as I've highlighted there. Write an email to your elder sister, which is something you need to make sure you remember. It is a girl, okay? And you need to use the correct personal pronouns. Who is studying in another town, telling her at least 3 activities that you took part in. So what you need to do now, you need to make sure that you know what are you going to write about. So the first 3 things that I need to mention, because they mentioned that 3 activities. So I will be talking about, I can give an example of the talk. I can also talk about eco quiz, which you emerge as the winner. Emerge means become, okay? And you could also talk about the workshop, all right? So what are the vocabularies that you can use over here? Now there's a set of vocabularies you can use over here. You can use the word environment, you can use the word chop down or cut down. So this is chop down, cut down is basically a phrasal verb which will gain you marks over here. You can use the word emerge, which I've mentioned just now. You could also use an idiomatic expression, which is in a pink of health, which means you're in good health. Okay, and when you are ending your email, you could use a phrasal verb, which means a phrasal verb of pen off, which is how you end your email. And later on I'll show you how you can use these words over here. Okay, not all, but maybe just a few. Okay, so the connectors that I'm going to be using for this email, it's going to be firstly, secondly, and lastly. And let's move on to an example. Now a lot of students tend to think about, how am I going to start the email? Do I straight away go to the point? What should I do? So now normally when you're going to do an email, you always have to start with a greeting first, okay? And then only you need to mention the points. Okay, so let's look at a short example of an email, not the whole email, but just a short one, just elaborating on the points and also how you're going to begin this email. So let's look at this. So since the email just now mentioned that I'm writing this to my sister, right? So as you can see over here, from is basically my email. So if you are writing this email, then the word from should be your own email, and to should be your sister's email. And make sure you state the date. That is very important. And when you're writing about the date, right, the month, you write it in alphabet form, you don't write it in number form, okay? And the time, and then you need to mention about the subject. Subject is normally you're talking, what is this email about? So obviously this email is about Earth Day campaign, so we are going to mention about Earth Day campaign. So dear sister, again I've highlighted the point of this email is referring to the sister. Okay, how are you? I hope you're in pink of health. Why did I use the word pink of health? Because it's an idiomatic expression, which means it's a form of vocabulary, and this will gain me marks as well. Recently, my school Science Society organized the Earth Day campaign. Now, this is how you begin your email. You don't straight away go to the point, but you greet first and you say, what is this email actually about? Okay, and then only you go to your pointer, which is you go on to the second paragraph. Only you start about elaborating about the activities, mentioning what is the activities. Okay. So the second paragraph, you're going to state, I would like to share with you a few activities which I participated in. Now, why did I use the word participated? It's because participated is referring to past tense, and this is already finished, so I have to use a form of past tense. So grammar is also very important here. Firstly, I'm using the word, the connector Firstly, I attended a talk on global warming and prevention. Only now I realize that using air conditioner and burning petrol can release carbon dioxide that will cause our earth to become warmer. Now, this is what I mean by elaborating the points. The part that I've highlighted here, this is what I mean by elaborating the points. You don't need to elaborate very long. You just need to elaborate very brief, short elaboration. Okay, so this is an example for all of you to take note. If you want to take this as an example, or if you want to take this as a beginning, you can take this, or you want to start off with your own way, you may do it with your own style and your own way of writing an email, as long as you mention the 3 activities and elaborate the 3 activities and follow the correct format. Now, format here all takes marks. Okay, all these are format, so you need to make sure you remember this, and do not forget when you finish the email to end the email with the words that I've given just now, and do not forget to sign off the email. Now, signing off doesn't mean an email you don't need to sign. Okay, you need to write your name. Okay, so, and that one is normally on your left hand side. It's not on your right hand side, it's on your left hand side. So when you're ending it, you need to write regards and who's writing this email. So if your name is Visu, then you need to sign off as Visu. Okay, so you need to take note on this. So yeah, that's it. Happy learning, and I will be attaching the questions to this. So just look out for the question and you can start doing your email and practicing how to write a proper email. If you have any questions or any queries, you could always ask it in the group. Thank you.